So here's a Easter sermon from 2023. The text is the Gospel of Mark, the last part of the Gospel of Mark, the resurrection story, because it's Easter. It's one that I always enjoyed the reading. And the sermon was fine, but I enjoy that ending of Mark because it's a cliffhanger in its original form. It sort of sends your mind moving forward into whatever comes next, and I really like that. We don't preach on Mark every year, obviously, but when it comes up, it is exciting for me. And it is, of course, a sermon about resurrections. There's the resurrection we are there for, but I tried in this service and a lot of services around Holy Week and Easter, I try to remind people that our resurrections are important as well. We are supposed to be growing. We are supposed to be changing in life and in our spirit, our religious life as well. And so, I hope that comes out in this. It was a while ago that I gave it, but when Easter comes, it's always great. So here you go, from Easter of 2023.
The Sabbath was over, says Mark. Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so they could go and anoint him. Very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. Very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. Now, Easter exists in the midst of the chaos of our regular lives, doesn't it? We don't get the week off like we do with Christmas. And that's because it's harder to monetize this holiday. Let's be clear. Easter has the economic value of Halloween, so we aren't given very much time for it. But of course we know that even though not much time has been given or made for us to celebrate today, we also know that we need to set aside our rational minds, our worries about what we have to do on Monday, and make the time. Make the time. As Max Coots writes in our responsive reading, we need the sense of deity to crack our own hard, brown December husks, to push life out of inner tombs and outer pain. We need, in the chaos of life, in other words, with all its burdens, its sorrows, its joys, with its banal list of tasks and demands as well, we need to take a moment to observe and connect with the changes going on around us. The land is thawing out today. We are witnessing small moments of birth and rebirth right outside our windows. And as we lift our heads up from placing our feet in the same old tried and true paths, we may see that even the people are changing, or they want to. Even we are changing, tempted or compelled toward new directions this season. From Palm Sunday to Maundy Thursday to Easter sunrise to now, we have been given the opportunity to turn back toward the broad picture, to situate ourselves in the order of living things, to recognize our connection to each other, to the sun and the soil and to the transcendent. And that is why we are here today, in the midst of all the other things that we could be doing. That is why we are here. Whether we attend regularly or not, we know in our primal hearts that to really get something out of a season of resurrections, we need to work at being present. Being present in the moment to each other and to ourselves. We also know that if we look back in history, for an era when it wasn't a challenge for human beings to break away from the daily grind, we know that we will be disappointed, don't we? In our reading from that oldest gospel, Mark, we encounter the women at the tomb. Jesus' family, breaking out of their regular lives. Lives that were, frankly, you know the story, much busier than our own. After all, not only were they celebrating Passover, these women were certified revolutionaries. Certified revolutionaries on the run from the most powerful political force of their time. So they had other things to do. Flee is one of them. Fight, maybe, or hide. Instead, these women decide to go up to the tomb, in spite of the risk, in spite of all the other things that they had to do, in order to prepare Jesus' body as their fate demands. And this is where things get weird. Right? You heard the reading. This is where things get weird. We see them enter the tomb, but there's no body to be found. Just a random young person, a youth, who says, "Oh, Jesus? Yeah, he left. He got an early start. He's heading out before you." So they went out and they fled from the tomb, says the Markan community. For terror and amazement had seized them, and they said nothing to anyone, for they were afraid. And in the oldest copies of the oldest gospel, that is how the story ends. Full stop. The Markan community seems to have enjoyed a cliffhanger. They didn't feel the need for any closing arguments. No Thomas putting his fingers in the wound. No road to Emmaus, which we read at Easter sunrise today. Just, you know, the miracle occurred. A miracle occurred, as miracles do. And then the encouragement to get along, to get going. The paths are changing for the followers of Jesus, not ending. Where do those paths lead? Where do those paths lead? We won't know until we get there. Now, the original ending in Mark is so strange, so awkward, so intimidating to our ordered, rational, human, Monday morning minds that if you look in the Bible, you will find two other endings, the long and the short, that were made up later to kind of tie the story up a bit. But I like it this way. The ancient stories of the ancient communities of our ancestors don't work on our schedule or by our rules. They were composed while gathered around a fire, and they were made out of dreams. Dreams for a new world better than this one. A new world better than this one. Now, in these parts we use phrases to describe that new world, like reign of God or commonwealth of heaven. If you've ever been listening to me preach, you're like, what's he talking about? We use those terms to describe this better world. But we aren't talking about some magical, flaky after-you-die place either. That is the work week gloss on the Holy Week values. No. This dreamed of new world that Jesus dreamed of, that the disciples dreamed of, that the women at the tomb dreamed of, that the prophets of the Hebrew Testaments dreamed of. This dream of new world is a goal to strive for in this place. A goal to strive for in this place where we live every day. The goal of a world based on hope, love, and a just peace. A just peace. Now that's worth the occasional inconvenience, isn't it? It's worth 45 minutes of not texting, so that we may breathe in the air around us, so that we may see the divine among us, so that we may rise. Rise in the words of the Fiata, through strength in the sky, light of sun, moon's reflection, dazzle of fire, speed of lightning, wild wind, deep sea, firm earth, hard rock. Who are we to define this new world with our own biases and opinions? Our job is to leave those behind in the tomb, to be open to what comes next, to see what the resurrection of this season brings. Our job, our Easter job, is to put our Monday morning worries away in order to imagine a place ordered on different priorities and to strive for the perfection of this world. Now the women, as I said, already revolutionaries, entered the tomb from their old world and left it to enter a new one. They entered the tomb from their old world and left it to enter into a new world, filled with as of yet undefined possibilities. Scary possibilities, yes, as all new experiences can be, but also a world where anything can happen. Even the very best of our dreams, the very best of our dreams can happen here. Right here. So what is possible in our world? What are we holding back and fearing to dream as we accept our resurrections today? As we rise, what dream will crack the dry husk of winter to grow and expand, to bring about the resurrection we, this community, and our society truly need in the spring and summer to come? Let us take a moment in silent prayer and meditation to look within us and find the spark to guide us from the tomb.